Good evening and afternoon for some GMS scholars. My name is Reba Monachin, and I am the Senior Relationship Manager for the Gates Millennium Scholars Program. I am so excited for tonight's webinar, our first Ask GMS webinar, hashtag Ask GMS webinar of 2016. It should be a really good one tonight. We have 4 amazing panelists that will be talking about their different organizations. Give me 1 second. Okay, excuse me. My YouTube page started in the background of my speaking, so hopefully that didn't distract you. I am here with 4 panelists from 4 different organizations tonight. We have Byron Williams we have members from Teach for America, Peace Corp, AmeriCorp NCCC, as well as City Year. And so I'm going to let all of our panelists introduce themselves tonight, and hopefully you all know me from previous webinars. I am also going to introduce myself really quickly. I am Senior Relationship Manager for the Alumni Program, and we have been doing this series for a few months now on various different topics, professional development topics, specific education, public health, GRE prep topics throughout the past few months, and we are eager to hear from you. So if you have any questions for our panelists or questions regarding our series, feel free to hashtag AskGMS on both Twitter or Facebook, and we will be happy to answer those tonight. Our lovely panelists will be happy to answer those tonight. So I'm going to start with Byron, if you would like to go ahead and introduce yourself. And Byron, you are on mute, so if you could take yourself off mute first.
Got it. Thank you very much. My name is Byron L. Williams. I work with the United States Peace Corp. My title is Diversity Outreach Specialist, so I'm one of the people who's responsible for creating awareness and also garnering interest in Peace Corps for our applicants from under-resourced and typically underrepresented communities in the United States. And yeah, that's me.
Awesome. Next, Jamal, would you like to introduce yourself?
Certainly. Good evening, everyone. My name is Jamal Williams. I proudly serve as the National Recruitment Director for City Year. City Year being an AmeriCorp program where we take 17 to 25-year-olds and empower them to serve as tutors and mentors in low-performing schools across the country. I am also a City Year alumnus, proudly serving at City Year in New York for 2 years.
Awesome. And Manuela?
Good evening, everyone. Greetings from Texas. My name is Manuela Monsalve, and I serve as the recruitment manager for Teach for America, where I work primarily recruiting undergraduates in college campuses in Texas, and I also work with professionals as well. I am like the liaison for recruiting from City Year and other AmeriCorp alumni programs here in the state of Texas, so I'm super excited at being here today, and I'm originally from Delaware, but I proudly serve as an AmeriCorp member here in Dallas-Fort Worth.
Awesome. And last but not least, Katrina. And Katrina, I believe you're still on mute.
Wow, I thought I'd done that. Am I okay now? Okay, all right, thanks. Good evening, everybody. My name is Katrina Mathis, and I am the Assistant Director of Recruitment and Partnerships with AmeriCorp National Civilian Community Corps. We affectionately call it AmeriCorp NCCC, and I'll refer to it that way moving forward or the rest of this evening. And I oversee our national recruitment strategy. I enjoy my job, and I started my public service career as a Peace Corps volunteer in Guinea, West Africa. Those were 2 of the best years of my entire life. I loved it so much that I moved, well, I'm from Atlanta. I went to the Atlanta office, became a recruiter for the Peace Corps, and then I became Peace Corps' recruitment coordinator. I moved to DC to continue my public service career, and I have been with AmeriCorp NCCC ever since. I would just like to point out, as Jamal pointed out, that City Year is an AmeriCorp program. AmeriCorp NCCC naturally is an AmeriCorp program. Teach for America is an AmeriCorp program. And we are 3 AmeriCorp programs, but there are hundreds of AmeriCorp programs. And so tonight we are very excited to be here to talk with you about these 3 particular AmeriCorp programs, but there's so many more, and we'll talk to you more tonight about how you can learn about more in addition to ours.
Awesome. Thank you all. And while the panelists are not speaking, we've asked everybody to mute their microphones. So if we have a few folks that are still muted, we'll try to catch that. But we want to make this the best viewing experience possible for everybody so that there's no background noise. And we will be taking your questions for these lovely folks. Also, if you are interested in getting information about these organizations or other AmeriCorp programs, as Katrina mentioned, after the webinar, there has been an RSVP link that has been sent out, but feel free also to message me or message Gate Scholars, and we'll also be putting that RSVP link on the YouTube page as well as with the hashtag AskGMS. So you all, if you're interested, can get information afterwards and after this webinar. But so let me start off. We did a short intro, but I would like to continue that and ask each of you to please talk about how did you get to where you are in your organizations? What's been your own experience with your organization? And talk to us a little bit. You all are so seasoned. Talk to us a little bit about your journey. Let's start with Byron.
Okay, so when I was in college, one of the things that I was really looking, actually in high school, and I was really looking forward to speaking Spanish or becoming fluent in Spanish while living in a community abroad. And originally being from Las Vegas, I had a chance to speak a lot of Spanish and get to learn it. And so after I got to college, I basically was looking for a program that would allow me, after I graduated, to live and to work in another country speaking another language. And that so happened. I found Peace Corp at a college career fair, applied, got in, and ended up serving 2 years in the small southern African country of Lesotho. If you look at the map of Africa, if you see South Africa, I served in a little country that is right in the middle of South Africa. And so, you know, that led me to serving 2 years in Lesotho, and eventually down the line, I ended up serving also with my wife in the Eastern European country of Ukraine, and that led me to also now working for Peace Corp in my current position. So I think it's been just a life of service, whether it has been a community service outside of my professional work, and now turning that into my professional work, which has also been my passion.
Awesome. How about Manuela next?
Yes, sure. So I actually was born abroad. I was born in Colombia, and I immigrated to the United States when I was around 7 years old. And I immigrated to a community where there were no other Latinos. So it was extremely hard for me to make any connections with other teachers. And I know that my mom really struggled. You know, she was trying to provide for me. She didn't really give me a lot of support academically because she just didn't know English. She wasn't familiar with like how American education systems work. So it was really hard for me to navigate alone throughout the entire education system. And when I got to college, you know, I was really excited to find other Latino students like myself. But when I got there, I really realized that there's not a lot of Latino students in college, and it really bothered me. So I started working with undergraduate admissions. And I had the opportunity to look at different applications, you know, those who were predominantly white, African-American applicants, and also Latino applicants. And I could really see a big difference in essays, in SAT scores, and grades. And it just blew my mind that, like, no one else on campus, like, seemed to be bothered by this. At the same time, I was a political science major, planning on going to law school, had taken my LSATs, applied. When my friend approached me about Teach for America, she said, hey, let's go to this info session. And when I sat there and just learned about the education problems that our children like face, it just clicked. Like all of the things that I had thought about from when I was 7 until I was in college. Like, it just clicked. And it made me feel really lucky to have gotten as far as I did in life. And I just felt like it shouldn't be a matter of luck. Every single child, regardless of your race, of your ethnicity, of your socioeconomic level, should make it to college. So I decided to put my law school plans on hold, and I applied to Teach for America, got in, and got sent here to teach 2nd and 3rd grade bilingual in Dallas-Fort Worth. And after my experience in the court, I actually transitioned to the recruitment team because I felt like my job wasn't done. You know, I'm really passionate about education, and just being in the classroom for 2 years wasn't enough for me. So here I am, hoping to do more.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Manuela. Let's hear from Katrina.
Okay, I'm unmuted, yes? Okay, all right. Okay, wow, Byron and Manuela, those are very inspiring stories. And so I decided in the 10th grade that I was going to the Peace Corps. It was in a civics class. We were reading about the Peace Corps, and I said in class, I raised my hand, and I said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go to Africa, and I'm going to help people. And I totally forgot about it, and it wasn't until I was graduating from the University of Georgia my senior year that there was an article in the paper, and I remembered that I had said that, and it still resonated with me. I went overseas. Again, I said it was one of the best experiences of my life, and it was. And I came home incredibly passionate about it, and I wanted other people to have the experience. And I fought for, and I think all of us know that, you know, these recruiter positions are very coveted. You know, you serve in these organizations, and there are a lot of people that want these positions. And I fought tooth and nail for that position, and I wanted it, and I enjoyed it, and I became the lead recruiter. And I transitioned out of Peace Corps, and I came here, and I didn't serve as an AmeriCorps volunteer, but I am passionate about national service and international service, and I felt that I could make a difference. And I believe that I have, because just as Manuela was saying, I began to notice the dearth of people of color in a lot of these organizations, and simply because they didn't know about the opportunities, not because of the capacity. They didn't know about them. And so I wanted to be able to bring that to the table, and I'm very excited now that even this administration for our particular program has legislatively mandated that 50% of our core be young people from disadvantaged circumstances. And that's huge, because it means that we go out and we get people who typically wouldn't even look at us, and allow them to have an experience that I believe is transformative. I believe my Peace Corps experience was transformative. I believe that AmeriCorps experiences are transformative. And I want to make sure that I'm giving as many people as possible to at least know about these opportunities. And so, again, thank you for allowing me to share this with you this evening.
And last but not least, Jamal.
Cool. It's hard to go last after all this. One common theme that I think we've all talked about, and that Katrina really brought up really eloquently, is transformation, and how service can be a catalyst for change, not just for the individuals that you work alongside or the communities that you work within, but also for yourself. And that's kind of how I fell into my City Year experience. I was a senior in college. I studied psychology and Africana studies. I didn't know what I wanted to do with that, but I knew that I wanted to help people. I grew up in a family of servant leaders, be it in the faith-based community or in my own local community. And their example taught me that it is my duty to give of myself if I have anything to give. And in talking to a friend of mine who graduated a year before me, he was telling me about the City Year thing that he was doing in New York. And he told me verbatim that he was getting paid to kick it with middle schoolers. And I said, whoa, that sounds like something I could be down with. I love the middle school generation. They often get a bad rap as being way too hormonally charged to do anything positive, but I felt I could change that paradigm if I gave them an opportunity and the skills to make a difference. So I applied to City Year New York and had a chance to work in a middle school in Queens, New York, not only doing in-school service, but also running after-school programs and then designing and running a community service program where middle schoolers would learn about social justice issues and then perform service that related to those issues. And it was there that I felt transformed in terms of seeing 11, 12, 13-year-olds talk about racism and personal conflict, understand the homeless population, and then identify the things that they can do as youth to make a difference. And I was hooked. I came back for a second year of service with City Year, where I had a chance to lead a team of AmeriCorp members in the implementation of their service. Then I moved to higher ed and had a chance to redesign and run Ithaca College's pre-freshman summer program, which was pretty much a direct translation of the skills that I learned in my service year. I was mobilizing, I was communicating, I was building people, and I was creating safe spaces for opportunities and growth. Then I returned to City Year, managing their middle school program in Boston, and then recruiting for their Boston site. And then after that, I left City Year again. I've made quite a few moves. And I then moved to Detroit and ran a political campaign where I had a chance to see a different side of public service. After that campaign ended, I was afforded an opportunity to return to City Year and serve on the national recruitment team, where now I go to where City Year doesn't exist. So we operate in 27 locations, and my job is, like all of us, to spread the word of service and connect people to these different opportunities that, like I said, can transform not only the folks that they work with, but themselves as well.
Awesome. Thank you all. So you all talked a little bit about your organizations and the mission of your organizations, but if you'd like to add to that, I want to give you an opportunity to talk about the overall core mission of what your organizations do, and exactly what problem are you trying to solve through your individual organizations? How are they different?
Am I unmuted?
You are.
Oh, okay. So AmeriCorp NCCC is a 10-month full-time team-based residential program for 18 to 24-year-old men and women. And we take these 18 to 24-year-old men and women and we send them to live on one of our 5 campuses. And we have campuses in Sacramento, California, in Denver, Colorado, in Benton, Iowa, in Baltimore, Maryland, and in Vicksburg, Mississippi. We're headquartered in DC, which is where I am. And once they arrive on one of these campuses, we place them on teams of about 10 to 12 people. And over the course of 10 months, they travel in a 15-passenger van. And they actually work in a region of the country. And they get to see different parts of the country while they're building homes with habitat, while they're building trails in state and national parks, cleaning up ocean shorelines, mentoring youth, doing disaster work with Red Cross and FEMA, tarping roofs and mucking out homes, working in food warehouses, doing a variety of service opportunities over the course of 10 months with the team in a 15-passenger van. Their living conditions change, everything changes, and the mission of our program is to strengthen communities and develop leaders through team-based national and community service. And so we're going into different communities, urban and rural, and we're working with the local and the state and the federal and the nonprofit and public agencies and all of these different organizations that come to us and solicit our help. And we go in and we help for about 6 to 8 weeks at a time, do a variety of service projects, and then we move on to the next thing. It's a great opportunity for us to strengthen communities. It means a lot when you can see a mile of trail that you built in a state or a national park. That's a direct impact, it's direct service, and you get to feel good about it immediately. You get to see the difference that you're making. When you have helped, disaster survivors, and to have people say to you, wow, thank you so much for your help. And so our mission is clear, strengthening communities through team-based national and community service with the added benefit of developing leaders. So everybody wins.
That's a great description. Thank you, Katrina. Who'd like to go next?
I'll go. So with the Peace Corps, we have 3 main goals. The first one is providing assistance in the form of people with trained skills. The second one being actually getting that cultural experience in the country. And then the third one being with the experience that we get in the country, bringing that experience back to the United States. So for what we do, it's really about learning from people in other countries as well as us being able to provide assistance in other countries in 6 main sectors, those sectors being agriculture, community economic development, education, environment, health, and youth and development. So the problem, or I guess you say the issue that we're trying to address is within those 6 sectors is really seeing how we can help or how we can assist a community to add to the skill set or the skill base they already have. Not necessarily doing better, but just seeing, helping people to either think about different ways to, say, teach in a classroom, or thinking about, agriculture, maybe how to rotate crops so that way they get the best yield for the amount of time that they have rain or for the amount of space that they have. But what we're really trying to do also is expose Americans to another side of the world. For me, when I volunteered for the 27 months, which is the Peace Corps service, it was me getting a chance to live and to work not only in another country, but also in a community that I was not familiar with, and then being able to bring that experience back to the United States. And so with that 27 months, with that first 3 months, where Peace Corps provides the training in the language and the host community, so you get to learn about the community that you're going to be living in for the next 2 years to make up that 27 months. But it's really about sharing cultures, so that way people get to meet and to see other Americans, and they get to see that America is a fabric. It's not just all of one person or all of one type. It's many different people that make up America. And even though we have 3 goals, that the main basis of what Peace Corps is about learning other cultures and learning about other people.
Awesome. Thank you, Byron.
You're very welcome.
Jamal or Manuela?
I can go. So I mentioned this briefly during my introduction, and what Teach for America is ultimately about is trying to solve our nation's biggest injustice, educational inequity. And we use this term, and what it ultimately means is that in our country, despite all the things that we brag about as Americans and the great success that our country has, we are failing at our foundation, which is education. And children are growing up in communities not receiving the education or the resources that they deserve based on their socioeconomic level and their income status. And that's truly a disservice to them and to everyone as a society. Because if we really think about it, these are the kids that are going to grow up and fill up the jobs that are going to be in demand in 10, 15 years from now. This is the generation that's going to take care of our generation. And we don't see education as simply being an education issue. This is a business issue, a law issue, a medicine issue, because if those kids are not receiving the education and are not being prepared and are not having the options and are not attending college, what's going to happen to them and what's going to happen to us? So ultimately, we work by enlisting, mobilizing, and developing our nation's most promising leaders who do have a bachelor's degree, and they go and teach in a low-income community for 2 years. We actually have over 52 regions. We have placements from pre-K through 12th grade. You actually get the opportunity to preference the location, the subject, and the grade, and throughout those 2 years, you receive a lot of support, a lot of professional development, and a lot of skills that are transferable to other fields. Because the ultimate goal of our organization is not to make everyone a lifelong teacher, but rather a lifelong educator for our students.
Awesome. And so we have 14,000 GMS alumni. We have 19,000 Gates Scholars total in the pipeline. What are you looking for in a candidate? We have amazing scholars. So what are the specific things that you're looking for?
I can jump in. So I think what makes City Year unique is not only the age bracket of folks that we recruit. We recruit 18 to 25-year-olds. And in terms of your educational attainment, we accept folks that have a high school diploma or a GED. And we'll get into the benefits of what that means a little bit later. But when we look for candidates, because our service model is incredibly unique, we pair our young adults, our core members, with elementary, middle, or high school students for the whole year. So we'll put you on a team, deploy that team to a school, and then say, all right, these are the students that you need to work with because they're the ones that don't come to school on a regular basis. So we empower our core members to call home, find out what's up, and then work with our schools to get them the resources necessary to get those students in the building. Then we also look at the students that may have some disruptive behavior when they're in the schoolhouse and give them a touch point to say, before you get frustrated, come to see me and let's talk about what's going on, and I can help you diffuse, redirect, or focus on what it is you need to be successful in the classroom and in the school building. And then we look at those students that are not proficient in literacy and math and say, we're going to tutor you and get you back on grade level or above grade level to the best of our ability in this year. So in order to do that and be successful at City Year, you have to have a team-based approach. You have to be able to work on a team, accept and give feedback and criticism, and be willing to invest not only in your students, but in the people that you are doing your service year with. In addition to that, since our core is incredibly diverse, you have to be willing to meet people and our students where they are. And oftentimes that means you need to do your best to remove your biases, ask questions, and learn about the students, the families, the communities that we operate within and that you are integrating into, so that you can find your ways to not only be relatable, but also understand this is what it's going to take to help you move the needle and feel empowered to take full advantage of your education. And then finally, one thing that we really value is leadership potential. Not everybody that comes to City Year has formal experience working with youth, but if they don't have that, they have this leadership potential where they say, I know I want to make a difference. I may not necessarily know how, but City Year can be the vehicle to help you realize and actualize how it is you want to change the world. And ultimately, if we can find those three things, we think you'll be a great fit with us.
Jamal, why don't you drop your mic, because that was good.
Very nice. Very nice. Anyone else? What are you looking for in candidates? Or does everyone echo Jamal, because that was awesome?
I'm going to agree with Katrina on that one. I think it's a mic drop.
Awesome. So as far as, so say I'm an underclassman, how do I prepare for that? How do I prepare for your particular program?
I think with the Peace Corps, a big part of course, with the Peace Corps, you're serving, you're volunteering for 27 months. So one of the things that does help is having that community service background or some element of a transferable skill that relates to community service. One of the things that I was very fortunate to have done is I started serving in my community, whether it was tutoring or mentoring, at a very young age in middle school. And so what I tell a lot of people when they're looking at Peace Corps is to look at first off our 6 sectors, and then to see with the community service background that you have or with the professional skills that you have, see what relates, because that's really going to help you to kind of figure out what direction you want to go in with the Peace Corps. But as an underclassman, I would say get involved. If you are really interested in, say, the agricultural sector, then start looking at possibly beekeeping or possibly animal husbandry. Or if you're interested in perhaps our education sector, what really helped me was being able to teach in another language. I taught Spanish for a while, and that's what really helped me to kind of be on Peace Corps' radar or qualify me for Peace Corps service. But even without having the language, it was a fact of having the passion to help other people to do things for themselves. Whether it's teaching English, whether it's teaching a sport, whether it's teaching a science, but really just helping people to figure out either where their passions lie and helping them to build on those skills. So yeah, with an underclassman preparing for Peace Corps service, I would definitely say get involved in your community, get involved on your campus, and just really kind of dig in to see where your passions, your interests lie, and then go from there.
Can I jump in?
Cool. So, oh, sure. Katrina, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to jump in. I want to echo what Byron said. That is exactly it. Having been a Peace Corps recruiter, that's exactly it. But I also like to add that for our organizations, our people do multiple stints. You have NCCC members that go and do City Year and vice versa in TFA, and they go to do Peace Corps. And what we will do, as Byron was talking about, people, getting themselves prepared and becoming more competitive. NCCC is a really good baseline for that, a really good opportunity. I mean, I encourage people, as Byron said, to start giving back, to start serving, whether it's through your sorority, fraternity. You don't have to be engaged in that way, but something, it could be through your church, community group, or something. But we want to see demonstrated experience, where you have been doing something, and not necessarily, that you led the canned food drive. That's great. But what we're looking for now, especially with, and I did not mention this, we have team leaders. So those teams that I talked about that travel over the course of 10 months in that 15-passenger van, they're led by a team leader. And there is no upper age limit for that team leader. So while our members are 18 to 24, there is no upper age limit. You can be 50 years old and I think you said there were like 14,000, alums. So, think about it. And what we're looking for are people who are comfortable, have a high level cross-cultural competence, cross-cultural understanding, and who have demonstrated that through the experiences that they've had. It could be the fact that you grew up a particular way. That's a great thing. But we need that diversity. We need people to be able to see through a different lens, because the team leader actually shapes the team. They create a cohesive team that goes out and they do this work together. And what happens when you get people who haven't had a diverse experience, but they have diverse team members, the team can become fractured. And so we're speaking to you today and really appealing to the fact that you've already demonstrated excellence, leadership, service. And so it's definitely something to consider. But that is what we're looking for, and you can use any of these opportunities as a jumping off point, as a place to make you more competitive for another opportunity.
I love everything you just said, and that's definitely something that we're looking for at Teach for America. I think that one more thing that I would add as an organization is that we're looking for individuals who demonstrate respect and humility, because you're going to be going into communities where you don't know anyone. Like, you may not be familiar with how they operate. You may not know like the cultural traditions that that community may have. So we really want to make sure that our members, are humble and are respectful and demonstrate a desire to learn more about those communities that they're going to be working in. And ultimately, at the end of the day, like, we want a diverse group of individuals with various experiences, so you can bring that into the classroom and share those experiences with our kids. Everything else that they've said, and that.
And sometimes what happens is we often conflate experience with commitment. We want to see both. Like Katrina said, you may not necessarily be leading a canned food drive, but if you're the person that goes to the food pantry for 3 years, we want you, because the work that we all do is incredibly hard. I cannot emphasize that enough. So if you can demonstrate a commitment to a particular organization, even a particular social justice topic, we want to know about that, because it's your commitment that's going to connect you to the work and get you up out of bed when it's way easier to just check out.
And I truly believe respect, humility, cultural competency, commitment, these are all amazing things that our Gates Scholars really have. So thank you all for that. That's awesome. So Manuela mentioned this briefly, that the folks that come into Teach for America are not just teachers, but they're educators. They go on and do many different things. So could you tell us a little bit about what some of your alumni are doing, or what do people do after these experiences? And then what support do you all give to even finding those experiences?
With some of the people who have completed their Peace Corps service, one is working for AmeriCorp NCCC right now for 12 years. That's a great thing with Katrina. But we have a lot of people who look at serving, or not serving, but working abroad. I think for a number of folks who either look at Peace Corps or are interested in Peace Corps, they do have that travel bug or that international bug. So whether you're looking at the Foreign Service, which is basically foreign policy arm of the Department of State. So we have people who look at that or become foreign service officers. So they're heavily involved in creating policy for America abroad. We also have people who go into politics. For example, I think his name is Joe Kennedy III, who is one of the, I want to say it's like great-grandsons or grandsons of JFK, who the Peace Corps was created under. We also have people who, like for myself, who work for Peace Corps. I think we just have a lot of people who really look at doing creative things after Peace Corps. Considering the 27 months of living and working in another country, getting that experience of seeing how other cultures do things that either we might not even have conceived or we might think is too hard. Being in the community definitely gives you that confidence of knowing that you can do a lot with the resources that you have. And so people tend to look at ways to either stay connected to their country of service, but at the least, I feel a lot of people really look at doing things on an international scale. Another person that's famous that a lot of people know of is Chris Matthews, one of the commentators on, well, he is the commentator on, I think it's called Hardball on MSNBC. When you also look at Franklin H. Williams, who was one of the more famous ambassadors of color for a long time. But yeah, we have a number of people who they really started looking at and staying with working in an international setting and kind of taking after Franklin H. Williams, who he didn't serve in Peace Corps, but he was instrumental in kind of helping to make Peace Corps, keep Peace Corps relevant and definitely on the radar of people from diverse communities.
I would like to say that what we do is we have Life After AmeriCorps fairs during their 10 months of service. And we bring in different organizations. We bring in all of you to our different campuses so that our members can become acquainted with other opportunities or post-service opportunities. We bring in colleges and universities. We even offer credits for during the training that they do, because our members go through 3 weeks of training at the start of their service, and they get credit for some of those courses that they do in team building and diversity and all of those things toward undergraduates, toward their undergrad. But then also we do that with grad school. They can get so many credits toward a certificate in nonprofit management. And so we have some incentives for people to further their education. But what I would want to say, one of the biggest is the Education Award. And full-time AmeriCorps members receive a full-time education award, which right now I believe is $5,775. It is indexed to the Pell Grant, so that amount would be the same as the Pell Grant. And so a lot of our people go on to grad school, and they go on, as I mentioned earlier, to do some of these programs, to do Peace Corps, to do Teach for America, to do City Year. I would say about roughly 25% of our staff are former members. They go on to, we have professors, we have people who started their own nonprofits, we have foreign service officers, we have a number of people who go on to do a number of things. And when we talked about the transformative aspect of service programs in general, I've talked to lots of members, but one in particular who went into NCCC saying, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to go to law school. And within those 10 months, he had a tree planting project. And he abandoned, after that, he abandoned his desire to go to law school and became an arborist because he fell in love with trees. And so we have people who go on and do a number of things, but because that experience is so transformative, it could be anything, but they go on to make a difference. And I believe right now the person who runs AmeriCorps Alums is an NCCC alum. So they go on to do a number of great things. So the sky is the limit, because you really are honing and developing some great skills that make you super competitive, whether it is to employers or to college admissions officers or graduate school admissions officers. You can stand out from the crowd as a result of this experience.
Yeah, I think service makes you marketable, just as a young person. And what's great about becoming more marketable is that I also think service makes you courageous. I think when I was 22 and I was very much set on what my path was going to be, I was willing to take a step out and do something that was non-traditional and serve. And that completely changed the trajectory of my life and my career, and it helped me really put my passion into practice. And I think that's what we really try to cultivate here at City Year. So at each of our 27 locations, every core member before they graduate will work with their team leader, who is a second-year AmeriCorp member, and their impact manager, so a dedicated staff member that focuses on their personal and professional development, to come up with what we call a leadership after City Year plan. And our alumni go to graduate school. They participate in some kind of participate within City Year again, like I did, and then get comfortable and get a staff position and then leave, and then get another staff position and then leave, and then get another staff position. But we also have, in addition to being an AmeriCorp program, we have the Education Award that Katrina talked about, and we have partnerships with over 90 different graduate programs that will say, oh, you did City Year, let us give you some more free money so you can come be a part of our programs, because they recognize just the kind of individual and character that it requires to do a year of service. So you'll have those supports in place, and then we also ensure that if core members want a mentor, either from the staff community or from the AmeriCorp alumni community, we forge those relationships as well. So I have 3 mentees that I work with that are currently serving at City Year Boston. All have a host of different interests and passions, but I'm glad that I'm here to be a touch point for them, just to be another set of eyes, a soundboard that's going to say, oh, have you thought about this? Let me connect you with this individual, and really make sure that when you graduate from your 11 months with City Year, you have a plan, you feel good about that plan, and you're already taking steps to execute it.
I think similar to City Year, Teach for America also has a ton of graduate school partnerships in place that we have there, where the partnership may range from waiving your application fee to giving you a full ride because you did Teach for America in the past. That's actually like one of the reasons why I joined, because I say, hey, I can then go to Columbia Law School and get an additional scholarship for it. But another thing that we have in place as an organization is just professional development fellowships for our alumni, such as the Capitol Hills Fellowship Program, where you actually get placed in a full-time position working with a congressional staff member for an entire year, and it's a paid position. We also have something like the School Leadership Fellowship for those individuals who are interested in leading school systems later on. And you know, at Teach for America, we really take pride in our alumni. We believe that as an organization, we would be nowhere without the phenomenal 42,000 alumni that we have, who are doing incredible things. And personally, like, they're the reason why I wake up every day, aside from my children. Like, they are motivation to know that I can get that far as well. And it just makes me think of amazing individuals like John White, who is the Louisiana State Superintendent of Education, or Miguel Solis, who's the VP of the Dallas School Board of Education. So just know that whether you do City Year or other AmeriCorp programs or Teach for America, like, these are only going to really propel your career, and they're only going to open doors for you. Like, not only you're going to get paid work experience and you're really going to develop yourself as a leader during your service, so many other doors are also going to open as well.
Can I jump in here and say something that's going to benefit all of us? Something that is very important to know is that the Corporation for National Community Service, in partnership with Peace Corp and the Franklin Project, developed Employers of National Service Initiative. And so this is a list that is, I know it is at nationalservice.gov/employers. That's where you can find the list, but a list of high-level organizations, public, private, federal, nonprofit, that have agreed to give consideration to Peace Corp and National Service members, alums, okay? So, and that's for jobs. And they have, there are organizations such as, let's see, Comcast, NBC Universal, Red Cross, the City of Nashville. There's a list. I won't go through the whole list. I don't know the whole list, but there are at least 200, if not more. And so that is an added benefit, that when you list that you have participated in national service and or Peace Corps, you're giving consideration. And so, of course, you got to get in and you got to make that work for you. But there's a list of them. You can reach out to them and you can know that they have agreed to this because they know what people who serve in national service bring to the table.
Awesome. And the fact that all of you all are national, international, I mean, the organizations speak for themselves. They've just done amazing work. And I cannot echo enough the amount of pride that we have in our alumni, all of our organizations, because really we wouldn't be able to do this work without both the core members and current scholars in our organizations, but also the alumni that give back and really take pride in that philanthropy of being able to give back and serve and be leaders in that way. So I want to spend the rest of the time talking about logistics and talking about some of these core pieces that I'm sure people are wondering in terms of financing. I know, Manuela, a few folks mentioned the graduate school opportunities. So let's start with, how does financing work? And we know that these are service organizations, so what does salary, what do benefits look like, and how is that different for your individual organizations?
So with the Peace Corps, we for that time that you're serving as a Peace Corps volunteer for the 27 months, you are, with us being a federal program, of course, it's you as a volunteer are taken care of by the American taxpayers. So the great thing is that whole time while you're serving, you're covered for medical insurance, you're covered for dental insurance. You also get a monthly stipend, and in that stipend, it covers a little bit of traveling in the country. It covers your meals and incidentals, so your food, of course, that you need while you're there. If you have to pay rent wherever you'll be staying in the community, it covers rent. One of the things that, as you're living there, the community, one of the things that they have to contribute to you being there as a volunteer is the housing. So sometimes, depending on how the situation works out, you might have to pay rent, but Peace Corps would give you the money for that rent in your stipend. And then after you're finished with your service, you also get what we call a readjustment allowance or a readjustment allotment of $8,725. So with that, with that allotment, it basically gets you started on whatever your journey is after Peace Corps. But while you're in Peace Corps, it is some of the, I should say for myself, it was some of the best medical treatment, dental as well as medical, and for a lot of volunteers it is, because if anything, you don't have to go through the hassle of having to fill out a ton of paperwork to get things taken care of. If you happen to get sick, or if you happen to, say, I don't know, break a pinky or something, because you're in Peace Corps and you're working for Peace Corps at that time in country, everything would be taken care of. And then after your service, just like a lot of all of us, I think, here on the panel, we also have the benefit of looking at higher education, or an advanced degree. So whether it be a fellows program where you can get money and benefits for having served in Peace Corps at over 160 different universities. Also, we have a program called our Master's International program, which allows you to be in Peace Corps, to be serving in Peace Corps while you're working towards a graduate degree. So yeah, those are some of the benefits, and I tell people those are great benefits, but really also look at what you're doing while you are in country. You're helping somebody that has requested you or somebody with your skill set to be there, and definitely use that to your advantage with getting to know about other people, other countries, as well as yourself, and just trying to grow within that experience.
Thanks, Byron. Real quick, I know you said so all the living expenses are covered plus the stipend. Was the flight covered? I'm sorry if I missed that.
No, I didn't mention that. Yes, the flight and everything is covered too. So you also, Peace Corps covers the flight to the country that you'll be serving in, as well as the flight back home after service is over. And then along with that, you also get 2 vacation days per month. So you get, if you have time, or not if, when you have time to travel, you get that. Plus, you get the national holidays in the country where you're serving. So it's great because you get a chance to not only work and to learn, but also to travel and see other areas, other communities, and other countries during your service.
Awesome, thank you.
You're welcome.
So,
Go ahead, Manuela.
So at Teach for America, during your service, you actually get a full-time teacher salary plus benefits. And the salary really depends on the region where you're serving because teachers get paid differently based on where they live. So to give you a little bit of context here in Dallas, I started making $47,000. And because I was a bilingual education teacher, I also got a bilingual stipend. And at the end of my first year, I started receiving my AmeriCorp award. Another thing that our members have as compensation is that out of our 52 different regions, 47 of them have graduate school partnerships during your service. So the second year that you're in the classroom, you actually can start your master's in education, which I did at a discounted tuition rate, and on top of that, you can use your AmeriCorp award to pay for that, for the tuition as well. I know that I only said 47 out of the 52. The other regions that don't have graduate school partnerships, actually everyone is eligible to apply to Johns Hopkins and get their master's in education online. So full-time teacher salary, full benefits package, and the option to get your master's in education during your second year in the service.
And for the Gates Scholars, also, some of the things that we don't cover include professional degrees, even though we do cover many of our graduate programs that our students, our scholars and alumni are in. Could you all mention if your program does provide funding for professional degrees, such as law school, med school, business school?
Yes, so those benefits come after your 2 years of service, where I know that Jamal also mentioned this, that we have partnerships established with universities already. So the optional master's degree, you can do it while you teach, or you can do it after, and then after your 2-year service is when you can take advantage of the law school, business school, or the medical school partnerships that we offer.
Thank you. Katrina?
Okay, so in AmeriCorp NCCC, we house, feed, and clothe our members. It is, remember, a residential program, okay? So there is no overhead. So you don't really have any cost, and we give our members a $4,000 stipend over the course of 10 months that is theirs to put in their pocket. It is separate from the education award that you receive at the close of your service or a successful completion of your service. So take that education award, the $5,775, and wait until the end. The $4,000 you get $200 every other pay period, and it comes out roughly to be about $160 some odd every other pay period. Doesn't sound like a lot. It is not a lot, but it's yours to put in your pocket, to pay on credit cards, to save up. Some people have to send money home, but because we house you, feed you, clothe you, you don't have any additional cost in the program. And again, I mentioned opportunities to earn credits for some of the training courses, as well as an opportunity to get a certificate in nonprofit management. And that is the extent of what we cover, but what we do also allow is the networking. It's a great opportunity to network because you are working with project sponsors. So when you're working on a project with Red Cross, when you're working with FEMA, when you're working with any of the project people that we work with, Habitat for Humanity, they have people on site, and you're getting to meet them and talk to them. And we have a number of people who come out of our program with jobs because they have been working with that project sponsor. The project sponsor has seen their work ethic, has said, hey, pass me your resume because you're somebody that we'd like to work for us. And I've gone to project sites and seen people who just finished our program working at a food warehouse and doing all those different things. So while we don't have the funds to pay for professional degrees or do any of those other things, there are a lot of additional benefits that we can offer.
Sure, and getting experience nowadays can be so difficult because when you're just getting out of school, they expect you to have 3-4 years experience sometimes for an entry-level position, and the experiences that you don't necessarily have in college, you can get through these programs. So thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah. And like NCCC, City Year offers a whole host of benefits to defray our living stipend. So the living stipend with City Year is $564 every 2 weeks before taxes, which comes to about $1,000 a month. And again, doesn't seem like a lot. It's super modest. But coupled with that, we offer food benefits of up to $200 a month that you could put toward groceries. We'll offer a public transportation pass in whatever city you decide to do your city year in. So you choose where you want to go in order to do your city year, and we'll cover your transportation while you are in service. We offer health coverage, child care. There's an additional child care stipend if you qualify, and federal student loans can be put in forbearance. So if you have federal loans, you don't need to pay on those loans when you are in the program, and then when you are done, AmeriCorp will pay off the interest that's accrued on those loans. So just along with any one of the other AmeriCorp programs, huge benefit for those of you who are thinking like, how am I going to pay off these loans? You can put them on pause for the duration of your service here. And in addition to that, we have our graduate scholarship opportunities as well.
Awesome. And in the last few minutes, I hate that we are almost done, but in the last few minutes, if you could just tell us what does your timeline look in general, but then also any upcoming deadlines that you have for this year.
Peace Corp's upcoming. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jamal. Go ahead, Jamal.
Okay. City Year, cityyear.org is where you go to fill out your online application. It consists of who you are, what you've done, 4 short essays, and then 2 recommendation forms that we ask you to get filled out. You submit those before our last 2 deadlines of February 15th and April 30th. If we like what we read, we'll say, hey, let's talk to you, and we'll reach out for an interview. If we like what we hear, we'll make you an offer to serve in our Corps 1 month after each application deadline. So we process folks in that 4-week period. So you'll have a decision from City Year by March 15th if you apply for February 15th, and by May 30th if you apply by April 30th.
Okay, so I'll jump in here, and I will say that AmeriCorp NCCC has 3 intake periods. We have a winter class that will be starting in February, so of course you missed that application deadline date. We have a summer class, and we have a fall class. Our application timeline, our next application deadline date is April 1, and that April 1 deadline date will be for the intake, will be for our summer and our fall classes. Okay, so if you're interested in serving in summer and or fall, and that will be team leaders will begin in June, members will begin in July, and then for our fall classes, team leaders would begin in September, and our members will begin in October. And again, you could be placed at any of our 5 campuses, which will be having classes. All of them do not have classes in the same cycle. And our next application deadline date after the April 1 would be October 1, and that is our revolving application deadline date. You would go to nationalservice.gov/NCCC, and I really encourage you to scroll all the way down that page, because we actually have an application process. We give you approximate timelines, and we actually show you, we have a visual guide to our application to show you what an application that is a stellar application looks like, and one that we encourage you to submit, and to submit early to increase your chances of being selected.
And then for Peace Corps, our next application deadline will be this April 1st, but we have 4 deadlines throughout the year, usually January, April, July, and October. Our application usually taken between 6 to 9 months, so from the time that you click apply to the time that you are on a plane and in your country of service. The way our application works is you get to choose what programs you want to apply to. So for example, if you were looking at an education opportunity in Ghana, you could apply to that specific opportunity, and you can choose up to 3 different programs. And so with that, a 6 to 9 month process that includes your application, it includes a couple of references, includes what we call a motivation statement, so why you would like to serve in Peace Corps, and what skills you bring to the table. And then from there, it's going through a legal and a medical clearance to make sure that you're able to serve in the country where you'll be. So that clearance might look different depending on where you would be going. But yeah, 6 to 9 months. And for that, you can check Peace Corps. That's corps.gov /opportunities. But what's something that's very helpful in that process, you can also check out peacecorp.gov /events. and you can connect with one of your local recruiting offices that we have throughout the United States to maybe talk with a recruiter or Peace Corps staff to help you with your application, so that way you can hopefully be able to submit the best application and get the, a great chance in actually becoming a Peace Corps volunteer.
Lastly, I'll be really, really brief. So the first portion of the application is an online application that should not take you over 2 hours. You're going to need your resume, an unofficial transcript, and you're going to have to answer a few short answer responses. We have 2 different application cycles. So if you're a senior, you have 2 more applications to complete. Next one is January 15th. If you apply by January 15th, you would have an offer by March 7th. And our last senior application is March 4th. If you apply by March 4th, you're going to have an offer by April 25th. So those were the senior applications. Now, if you're a junior, we actually have 3 junior deadlines, January 15th, March 4th, and April 20th. And you would know about notification by the end, towards June, and then you would have to confirm your offer in early fall. So if you apply as a junior, you actually get a lot more time to think about your offer and a lot more time to continue to learn about Teach for America.
Awesome. And I know you all are all very selective programs, so I want to wish everyone good luck as they apply to these programs. So we are coming to the end of our time, but I want to give the panelists a chance to say any final words, any final things they want scholars to know about their program, and give well wishes.
Yes, so one thing I'd like to correct really quick, I said peacecorps.gov opportunities for our openings. It's actually peacecorps.gov/openings for the different openings in the countries. But I would like to say, it's great being asked to be here with GMS, and for the skills that all of you have and the skills that all of you are building, do definitely take advantage of those. I know some people think that they think about what they can bring to the table. Just know that you're in GMS because GMS sees the potential in you, and somebody also has seen that potential even before GMS. So definitely just have confidence in knowing that you have something to contribute, whether it's to Peace Corps, whether it's to NCCC, whether it's to City Year or TFA. We would love to have somebody with your skill set, with your personality, with your passion. But whichever direction you choose, just make sure you keep doing what you're doing, whether it's at your school or in your community, but be a part of the change that you would like to see. It's very cliche, but change is and does start with you. So be a part of the solution and do what you can to benefit your community, and for your community to also learn from you, no matter where you choose, who you choose, or where you go.
I would like to say that, even if you're thinking about doing service or applying to Teach for America at that 25%, I really, really encourage all of you to go and apply, teachforamerica.org, because the application process is only going to allow you to learn more about the program. I think that a lot of people have big misconceptions that if they apply, they have to be committed to the program and want to do it right away. No, it's just an opportunity for you to learn more about the program and to have it as an option. And service is just going to really, really transform your lives and the lives of others.
Wow, thanks so much. You guys have really said pretty much everything that I agree with. I would just like to say directly to the Gays Millennial Scholars that are listening or watching that we need your voices, we need your bodies, we need your perspectives, we need you at the table. You guys bring so much to the table, and we need you. You guys are leaders, you guys are the leaders of the future, and you will add so much to these programs. So whichever one you choose, and as Byron said, even if you don't choose any of them, we know that you're going to go on and do some great things. But if you're even considering it, I would definitely say contact us. You can contact us at ANCCC@cns.gov. That was a lot. But you can contact us, ask us more questions. And I'd also like to mention that a part of NCCC is our FEMA Corps program. And FEMA Corps, the model is the same, the 5 campuses, the teams, doing everything. The difference is, instead of doing a variety of service projects over the course of 10 months, our FEMA Corps members are assigned specifically to work with FEMA and devoted solely to disaster and emergency management. And so it's a behind the scenes look at really what goes on to manage disasters. It is a great professional development opportunity. You're doing a lot of administrative and logistics work. And so I didn't want to leave the conversation without you knowing that. So you have 2 opportunities really here, and 4 opportunities to serve. You could be a Corps member or a team leader in our traditional program, or Corps member or team leader in our FEMA Corps program. Either one is great. If you need, again, to ask more questions, ANCCC@cns.gov. Thank you so much for your time, and I really look forward and hope to hear from you.
Yeah, I just want to emphasize something that Byron and Katrina are going to talk about. Talk to us. Not just, that's not me just being like the thirsty recruiter. Like, no, like, I feel as though my job is not to sell you on City Year or sell you on service. My job is to connect you to opportunities that I think will enrich your life and benefit others. So if you are moderately interested in any one of these organizations, talk to us. Seek out a recruiter that is a part of an organization that you think really resonates with you. Because chances are, if you talk to me and we talk about your passions, your skills, your desires, and City Year isn't a good fit, bet that one of these other organizations is a good fit. And I think that's our job. We want to connect you with the opportunity that's going to help you achieve your greatness.
That's right. We want to help you achieve your greatness. Thank you so much, Jamal. That's awesome. So thank you all again so much for taking time out of your evenings to be here with us to share with the Gates Scholars and alumni about your amazing organizations. I'm going to end us on that great note, and I will make sure that folks who have RSVP'd on the link that they get this information. So please make sure to RSVP, and I will send you information about each of these organizations. And otherwise, feel free to email us at alumni@gmsp.org or me at reba.monachin@gmsp.org. Hopefully you've been following us on our Ask GMS hashtag. You can also contact us that way, but otherwise, have a great night, everyone, and I will talk to you soon. Bye!